So did you sign up for the deferred reservation? Or are you looking to retire from federal government? So today you're going to learn how to take a look at your current compensation, what you're eligible to retire with, and what's available to you as far as calculating your retirement. So here we go. Here is the GRB platform. What we're going to focus on is this little document right here. This is how you can download the total compensation plan. I would suggest that you go ahead and click on each one of these icons to see what's applicable to you. The biggest key is these three things: taking a look at your pay and leave, because when you retire, you're able to take your annual leave and then will give you a lump sum. Also, with your Thrift savings plan to see what's being recorded as far as what's in your TSP. Plus, there's a neat feature with the Thrift savings plan that you can actually calculate. If you decide to stay, start playing with your allocation, you can see what that would look like if you projected it out 5 years from now, or a specific time frame when you wanted to retire. So for today, we're going to focus on the total compensation form, the retirement form with FERS, and then the retirement calculator. So once you click on the retirement calculator, you can basically scroll through and it'll give you like a summary of what it would look like if you retired, especially if you're eligible for regular retirement. But this is what I want to focus on is early discontinued service retirement. So if they do offer the voluntary early retirement authority, which is the VERA right here. It'll give me an idea of what that would look like since right now I'm currently eligible. I'm at 25 plus years. It'll give me my monthly annuity plus the supplement. I still have to double check what the supplement means. Now here, if you click on the retirement calculator, it's going to go through these different windows, right? The first thing is you can select what type of benefit you want to partake in. I scroll down to early birth eligible since I'm looking to do the VERA. All right. And then it gives me my date of first eligibility. So I pick for today, Valentine's Day, and then the projected date of retirement, which is the deferred resignation time frame, 9/30/2025. And you scroll down, there's additional windows to continue. Now, the next thing is your salary projection. I'm going to use my current salary. You can actually play with that to see if you know what your projected salary would look like if you had an increase. But I'd rather look at things as is right now. So it's going to give me my annual salary here. Now, when you get to the next piece would be the leave balance. So it's going to give you like what your current annual leave and sick leave, and then are you going to take additional benefits? For the survivor benefit election, I went ahead and selected no benefit. Now for my coverage for my health insurance, I'm going to go ahead and cancel my coverage, the federal employee government life insurance, because I have purchased my own. So this was something I wanted to kind of guarantee now while I'm still young versus paying for it later. The thing is, when I calculate it, it's fairly cheap when you're doing it with the government since they're subsidizing it. But as soon as I take it over, it is averaging about like $300 a month per term. And to me, that didn't make any sense. I might as well just use that for something that I own that's guaranteed. That's not going to increase every few years because as I age, it's going to increase. But right now, I'm going to keep it single. And then retirement calculator for taxes, I kept it at 0. Now it continues on to step 3. I kept everything at 0 for taxes. And then the high 3 calculator. So I would suggest definitely step 1 is to download, go to EOPF. Again, you have to do this from your government computer. Download the last 3 years of your SFE. So that way you will see like your salary is, and I would plug those numbers in. So I plugged in from 2022, 23, 24. The cool thing is, since I was at that certain grade, it calculated when I made that grade and a portion of it, the entire year, and then my exit, since it's only going to be partial. So kind of that average. And then you hit calculate, and then it'll give you your date of separation, what your annual basic separation would look like, and your total pay amount. So I wanted to kind of just calculate my retirement. I also wanted to take a look at like my position is exempt from the deferred resignation, so I have to take a look at like next scenario. If they do a RIF, if they do severance pay, what would that look like? So the cool thing is by doing this calculation, it looked like the severance pay is basically the deferred resignation offer. It's your salary to allow you to be able to kind of look at like your options and start earning an income as you're exiting. And I think that's a great deal. Again, I would suggest it for somebody that's young in their career. I would just go ahead and see what happens. That has 130 positions that are exempted. It is a healthcare organization. Most likely, you're going to be an exempt list like me. So now the thing is, if you are not eligible for retirement, I would definitely buckle down and focus on improving your career. Making sure you're a high performer. This is going to be one of those times when they're going to allow people that want to retire to exit. So then that way that reduces the number of people that are in the system. And then the next thing would probably be not just a reduction in force. I believe they started terminating people now. So then that also like dwindles down that number. The goal, from my understanding, is to have a lean and efficient government, and that truly makes sense. So if you exit out the people that are willing to retire and are looking to retire, that reduces the numbers, and the people that are staying in are the ones that really need to and are willing to work. So I think that's a great way to kind of make sure that the people that are in place want to work and will do a great job. So we want now here what we're going to look at is total compensation. I redacted some of the information so you can see that your annual leave balance, sick leave, it gives you your pay schedule, which is biweekly, and then it gives you your total base salary along with your agency federal benefits. As you can see, like your total compensation, 75% salary, but a majority of it, they do provide benefits, health insurance, life insurance, retirement. A nice chunk of change in my pay is towards my retirement, TSP, and Social Security, Medicare. Again, another reason why I love working for the federal government. It's not just the mission and being able to help my fellow veterans, but also it's really did a great job at taking care of the employees. We got too big, inefficient. So now, like any organization, we have to have some lean things that we have to do. Now, as you're looking through your total compensation plan, it actually goes through your different things that you covered for. So you have your health benefits, your group life insurance enrollment to see how you are allocating, if you're maxed out with some of your options. Now, one thing I had to change was option C. That only applies to family if you're married, if you have children that are under 18 or until they get married. You have to kind of double check on the age. So that's a great way to provide term life insurance for your family. And then you can also purchase your own. That's something that I did. So then this way, while I'm still young and it's still, if I waited too long, the chances of it increasing, it's guaranteed. So I'd rather have that in place now without having to worry about it. The other thing here is dental insurance and vision, and then any type of, that's the option C right now. It's not applicable. And then it outlines it here as far as what your premium per pay period. This one got redacted because for some reason it wouldn't separate it out. Now, the other thing is it doesn't have long-term care insurance. I didn't sign up for it, but it is available. That's not something I'm looking at right now. Sorry for the change of clothes, but I had to redo this section after reviewing it. Anyway, so here's the section with regards to TSP. I would still double check. Go ahead and log into your TSP to give you an idea of how your allocation is. And here it gives you your current balance. Here's your estimated annuity would be as far as a monthly amount if you decide to start drawing from your TSP. Here, the amount of contributions as far as what went to traditional and what went to Roth. Now, my brother's a financial advisor, and this is something that you could check also when you start thinking about how you're going to transition your TSV into your own 401k. It has to be so traditional Roth to Roth. And he said that you can't do any type of conversion if you decide to do the traditional to Roth until the magic number of 59 and a half. So basically, it's just trying to figure out what you want to do with regards to this your thrift savings plan. If you want to keep it in there or transition it to someplace that maybe you might have more control over. I know I have to do some more research, but I have heard of self-directed 401k. Not sure if those are a good way to go. I have heard from different investors, and especially when it comes to real estate, you can actually use part of your own money and then use part of your 401k to be able to fund, like you're purchasing a property, and then when you sell the property, and as far as the profit, that distribution, like say you went 50-50 with yourself and your 401k, that portion of the profit will go back to your 401k. I'll give you a link of where I learned that from. I believe it's Anderson Advisors. And here I wanted to talk to you about the FERS retirement system. It actually breaks down what it would look like if, depending on your eligibility and your annuity monthly, with no survivor, max survivor, and survivor benefits, and then annuity supplement. I had some questions, and that's why I wanted to read you this because I'm like rereading it again. I wasn't sure what the annuity supplement was, and I wanted to kind of get some clarification. So if you read here, so basically, because it showed I'm eligible, an annuity supplement may be payable to you if you retire on an immediate annuity, basically under the age of 62. If you've reached your MRA or retired under special group provisions, the annuity supplement will begin immediately. And in the case of an early discontinued service, the number of factors, including types of service performed, age, and insurance elections. So basically, it says here benefits are not automatic. You must apply for them once eligible. So I know right now there's 130 positions for DHA that are exempt. Now, here I have to kind of clarify with HR whenever I do talk to them. There's early and there's discontinued service retirement. So my understanding, the exemption is for those that are voluntary early retirement authority for VERA. So we might not be eligible again to deferred resignation. But if they continue with the moving forward with trying to reduce, because they were expecting, they sent it out to 2 million people. They were hoping to get 5% or maybe even 10%. So that's about 200 to 100,000 people. They got about 75,000 takers. Now, with that 75,000, some of them might not be eligible to take it, such as myself. So then what do we do? Now, if they continue to think about reducing the government workforce, so that probably would be the next stage, a reduction in force. And then, so then that this way it'll transition from VERA to discontinued service retirement. That's the stuff I have to double check. In that case, then the annuity that I have here monthly and then the annuity supplement, that would be super helpful. So that's the section I wanted to talk to you about. And here we talk more about additional children's benefits, survivor. This is basically what you have like a disability or death. I have to double check to see if that would apply after I've exited out, because that would be wonderful if I'm able to leave something for my family. And then also, if they're like, I have an adult child, and she's married. So this might not apply as far as the death benefit, but if I have designated beneficiary, and that's something I do have with regards to my benefit. Let me double check. I want to make sure that I name the right people. And then here you have annual leave. So look at your annual leave balance. So hopefully you have some, because that actually amounts to a nice lump payment. First retirement estimate report. This one, I believe it's only like one page, but it actually gives you what your monthly annuity would look like if you're retired right now. I, again, focused on the VERA, the early retirement. So you have like your unreduced monthly annuity, any type of survivor benefit, cost reduction. I kept that one. at zero, and the tax withholding, and then the annuity supplement. It doesn't calculate it here as far as your monthly annuity because it's not time yet. It's not at 57. So definitely take a look right here. It says the annuity will be reduced by a permanent early retirement age reduction of 5 to 12 of 1% for each full month you are under age 62 retirement. I know, like, times right now are a little scary. This is not something I thought that would happen. I didn't expect it, but I'm grateful that I started looking like a few months ago to start framing it to see what that would look like retirement. Not thinking it would come now, but I realized that life has its challenges and we have to kind of roll with it. Things happen for us, not necessarily to us. So this gives me an opportunity, and I urge you to do the same. If you are facing uncertain time, you are facing a layoff or maybe like a reduction in force, see what that would look like for you as far as the next thing. Plan now instead of reacting. What would that look like? And is it time for you to put your dream in place and then go ahead and get started? Sometimes, we need that nudge. We saw that in COVID with people losing their jobs because of the mandate. And that was unfortunate, but I've heard a lot of people have done great things since then. So don't get discouraged. Everything happens for a reason and happens for you. Sometimes it's not the way we want it to go, but it always works out for the best. At least that's my experience. Thank you for watching. I hope that was helpful. And stay tuned, click and subscribe, and continue to share my journey as we go. Right. Thanks.